and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. Today I'm dressed in all of my autumn colours because I'm going to be talking through the books that I would love to get to in autumn. Now I'm quite a mood reader, so as the seasons change, my taste in books and the kind of things that I want to be reading do change as well. So I'm really excited to talk about the kind of books that I want to get to this season. So the first one is a classic that I've never read before. I don't really know too much about it, I just know that people seem to absolutely love it. And that is The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. It's a very, very short novel and I heard it's really beautiful, very lyrical. And we're basically following the managers, staff and patrons of the Paris Opera House, and they all claim to have seen the opera ghost, but no one has spoken to him and no one knows who he is, what he's doing there. And then we're also following obviously this ghost who is the Phantom of the Opera. And it's a story of heartbreaking and obsessive love of a disfigured musical genius for a beautiful young singer. Again, I'm having to read off the blurb here because I really don't know what this is about. I haven't seen any of the adaptations or anything like that. I just know that it's a classic and people seem to really enjoy it, so I hope I do too. It's going to be like a little bit spooky, a little bit gothic, I think, so that's perfect for the autumn season. Sticking to that kind of spooky, creepy vibe, I'd like to read The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I have had this edition for years and years. I picked it up when I was in Florida on holiday with my family when I was younger, and I got a couple pages in and had to put it down because I had a little bit of a crisis, thinking about how insignificant we are as humans compared to the vast expanse of space in the universe and just time as well. So hopefully I don't get freaked out again, fingers crossed. But this is basically following Earth and what happens to the people on Earth when there is a Martian attack. And there's these big tripods with heat rays and they're killing everyone, destroying everything, and humanity has to basically survive and find a way to beat these Martians. Now I have no idea how this is going to go because I've seen some of the adaptations and every single one seems to be very different. So I've seen the theatrical play, that was amazing. The soundtrack is one of my favourites ever. I'm pretty sure that everyone above the age of 30 has got it on vinyl. It's just so good. And then I've also seen the BBC adaptation, that was pretty good. And I saw one recently with the actress from Normal People. I don't know her name, I'm very sorry. But the first season of that was really good. Didn't enjoy the second season. But that seemed very modern, like a modernisation of this. I don't think it followed the story very closely. So yeah, I'm excited to read the original works and see what it's all about. And hopefully not have a panic attack. Hopefully. So I actually just mentioned the actress from Normal People. Now I haven't seen the TV show, I do really want to watch it, but first I think I should probably read the book. So Normal People by Sally Rooney, you've probably seen this absolutely everywhere. It's all over Instagram and all over YouTube as well. People seem to either really love it or really, really, really hate it. It's got a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm excited to read it and see what I think. But we seem to be following two people, Connell and Marianne, and they're growing up in the same small town in the west of Ireland. And they're two very different people. So Connell is super popular and Marianne is seen as like an outcast and a loser. But they start talking and something kind of happens between them. They feel a little something, and I believe it is following them as they kind of work out what their relationship with each other is, and just following them together. And I guess some stuff is going to happen that's sad because I know that people have cried at this book and people feel frustrated at it, and yeah, that's about all I know. But I am excited to read it, and I do actually have the other book, Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. That is on my Kindle. I got it for 99p, so hopefully I enjoy this because I've already bought that. It was definitely an impulse buy because it was 99p, but hopefully I'll enjoy this and then I can read that one as well. But I think a kind of romance like this, which is quite modern, is really good for the autumn time because you know it's going to be a really easy read and it'll probably be quite fun as well. And then moving away from modern day romance, we are moving on to something that focuses a bit more on nature and will hopefully help to ground me as the seasons change. So I'd really love to read The Salt Path by Raynor Winn. Again, this is one of those instances where I picked this up and I just haven't had the chance to read it, haven't had the opportunity to, but I do really want to pick this up and have done pretty much since I came back from Cornwall when we did our wild camping trip, because this does focus in on Cornwall, basically following these two people. So Raynor, who's the author, and Moth, and Raynor finds out that her husband, Moth, is terminally ill and they basically impulsively decide to walk the 630 miles southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. And I think it's going to be a story of liberation and connecting with nature, grounding yourself, and I think it's going to be really beautiful. I've heard really amazing things about it. And I do actually have the follow-up book to this as well, again on the Kindle. It was 99p. That one is called The Wild Silence, so I really hope I'll enjoy this and I can read that one. I have very high hopes and I do think that I'm going to really like this. Next up is a book I don't know an awful lot about, but my friend very kindly lent it to me and said that it's absolutely beautiful and she really thought that I'd enjoy it. And I have actually seen it online quite a bit, especially on Instagram. So that is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. I'm just going to read the blurb. Ove is almost certainly the grumpiest man you will ever meet. He thinks himself surrounded by idiots, joggers, neighbours who can't reverse a trailer properly, and shop assistants who talk in code. But isn't it rare these days to find such old-fashioned clarity of belief and deed? Such unswerving conviction about what the world should be, and a lifelong dedication to making it just so. In the end, you will see there is something about Ove that is quite irresistible. So I think we're just going to be following this older gentleman and his life and kind of qualms with the people that he lives around and following his day-to-day life. And I think we're probably going to get quite connected to this character, and it's going to be a deep dive into his personality and things that he likes doing, things he doesn't like. And that is the kind of book that I want to read in autumn. I want something very easy and wholesome, maybe like a little bit sad and emotional. And also there is a cat on the front cover, so if there's a cat in this book, I'm going to be very happy. And then we get on to something that is a little bit less easy reading. I've heard that this is quite a heavy hitting book, but I've had it for a while and I do really want to pick it up. I actually recently watched Troy for the first time. Not the best film I've ever watched, but I wasn't actually aware of the story before I watched that film, so now I feel like I've got a bit of background to start this book. And that is The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. If I like this, I'm going to be investing in a whole load of Greek mythology books. I know I really need to read The Song of Achilles, and I've heard that Circe is supposed to be really good as well. This author's also written another book that I want to pick up. Yeah, it's just going to be a snowball effect after this one, I think, if I do enjoy it, and I feel like I'm probably going to enjoy it. But we are following the story of Briseis, I believe that's how you say her name. And she's basically captured and condemned to be a bed slave to Achilles, and it's her story and how she's used in this kind of war between the Trojans and the Greeks. So yeah, I'm very excited to start this. I've never really read much kind of historical fiction before, so I think this will be a really good place to start. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we've got something very light-hearted, and that will be A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is the first book in a trilogy, and it is a children's fantasy series, I believe, or it might be YA. But from flicking on the inside, I know this sounds really bad, but just from the font size, I feel like it's probably going to be for children, maybe between the age of like 7 to 11 or something like that. But we're following three sisters who are trapped by an ancient curse, three magical objects with the power to change their fate, and whether they will be strong enough together to break that curse. I will be completely honest, I was drawn in by the look of the books and how they looked on the shelf. I just had to pick them up and give them a try, and anything fantasy based I usually really enjoy, especially when it's children's literature. So hopefully I do enjoy this one. Definitely let me know down below if you've heard of this or if you've read it, what you thought of it, because I don't see it a lot online, so I don't know too much. And then lastly, another fantasy book, though this one is probably going to take me a little bit longer than that last one, and that is Magician by Raymond E. Feist. This is a big boy, and it's the first book in the Rift War saga. I have only got this one, I haven't picked up any more yet because I don't know how I'm going to feel about the writing, but I have heard that it is really enjoyable and just crazy, and it sounds like something that I'm really going to like. So we are following Pug, who is an orphan kitchen boy. So he doesn't have family, he doesn't really have any prospects, and then one day he finds out that he's destined to be a master magician. It sounds like it's going to be very dark, but also just very entertaining, and if we're mainly following one character, hopefully I'll be able to see a lot into their personality and there'll be good character development in there, which is something I really appreciate in all of my books, not just fantasy. But it is such a big book that I'm thinking that I'll probably have to finish the A Song of Ice and Fire series before I start this, because I don't think I can read the two together. I think it will just overload my brain. But this is one of the books I've been looking forward to ever since I got it for my birthday. I'm just so buzzed about it. So yeah, those are some standout books that I'd really like to get to in autumn time. So I've got a couple months to get through them, and I feel like I've got such a good selection and wide variety of genres and different ways of writing that I'm going to be really entertained this season. Let me know down below if you've read any of these or if you've heard any really good things about it. And also let me know a couple of books that you're the most excited to read in autumn time. But that is it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!